Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We'll share keys to success in baling high moisture hay. Plus, we'll see how the Responsible Beef program is making a difference for the beef cattle industry.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us. Leading our news this week, believe it or not, the next national election is now just 6 weeks away on Tuesday, November 4th. And for cattlemen and women, there's no doubt that elections have consequences in terms of policies and regulations that impact the business of raising cattle. We get more insight into the importance of this year's election from the National Cattlemen's Beef Association Vice President of Government Affairs, Colin Woodall.
Well, this is an extremely important election because it's going to determine who controls the United States Senate. Whoever controls the Senate will help determine just how successful President Obama is in his last 2 years as president. And more importantly, it's going to determine how successful we are as a cattle business in trying to get some relief from government intervention and intrusion. So we are really looking at a whole host of races that are going to determine whether or not the Senate remains under Democratic control as it is right now or turns into a Republican Senate. We do feel as we look at our priorities that a Republican Senate probably will be a little bit more sympathetic to some of the things we want to do, including pushing back on the Waters of the United States rule.
If you'd like to get involved in supporting the policies that make a difference for cattle operations all across our country, why not join NCBA and make your voice heard on Capitol Hill? Find out more by calling 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit the website beefusa.org. There's no doubt this has been an outstanding year for cattle markets, and an increasingly important part of the demand picture is due to U.S. beef exports. The latest numbers show the value of U.S. beef exports is on a record pace so far this year, with a value of nearly $3.9 billion, up 13% from just 1 year ago. U.S. beef sales to South Korea and Hong Kong have been up sharply so far this year, and those exports are making a dollars and cents difference on farms and ranches across the United States.
That means to our producers is we're looking at a value add of about $300 per head just on exports alone. And as our herd continues to rebuild, we're going to have a lot of opportunities for economic growth because of those export markets.
You know, I do spend a lot of time in the market access area. I have an honor and a privilege of serving as the chairman of the Ag Policy Advisory Committee to USDA in the U.S. Trade Representative's office. And as we look at today, when you take beef and the value that export markets are bringing to our industry, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $300 a head. And that's no insignificant number when you think of where this market is today. So big areas of focus have been around Trade Promotion Authority, more specifically around the Trans-Pacific Partnership, TPP agreement, as well as TTIP. Those two major trade agreements have been a major area of focus, and I'm very optimistic that as we look at TPP, how we continue to work with Japan and getting that agreement finalized will have an impact on our demand in these export markets, especially back to increased access in Japan.
Well, keep in mind, Japan currently has a 38.5% tariff on U.S. beef. And so even though that is our largest export market at about $1.5 billion, we could sell a lot more beef without that in there. So Japan is a priority for us. We're going to continue to try to work with our negotiators and with their government to make sure that we can tear those tariff barriers down and have access to those consumers who want to buy more U.S. beef.
So far this year, Japan is the leading export market for U.S. beef, with sales totaling more than $860 million, up 1% from a year ago. Still ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We're passionate about the land. We're aware of the resources that we're trying to save and, raise more beef with less resources.
We'll visit with experts to see how sustainability and responsible beef work together. And next, we'll check out the value of high moisture hay for one Ohio cattle operation. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
The Case IH Summer Sales Event is going on now, meaning you can turn the heat into red-hot savings. That's because all Farmall and Maxim Series tractors, along with our complete line of hay tools, are available with 0% financing for 60 months. But hurry, because while the Summer Sales Event is just warming up, it only lasts until September 30th, 2014. For more information, visit your local Case IH dealer or go to caseih.com/special offers.
This business can take time away and become more of your family than your actual family. My days were tough. I had a lot of doctoring, a lot of pulling. Now our days on the feed yard are happy days. It's more about looking at the cattle and enjoying what we're producing versus the alternative, which is pull and treat and bang our head against the wall. We have never wavered from Draxon. We've seen the benefits just keep getting better and better.
In recent years, there has been considerable interest from cattle producers in using baled silage or baleage as a way to reduce feeding expenses. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter has a closer look at the advantages of baling forage at higher moisture levels.
For more than 2 decades, cattle and hay have gone hand in hand at Cooksey Farms and Show Cattle in Ohio. Jim Cooksey knows one of the keys to success for his operation is the quality of the hay he produces.
It's very important with the artificial breeding we do and the embryo work. Nutrition in the hay will up your numbers of eggs and consumption rate of A iron, and it has to be made right. If not, you're going to have to find something another supplement or something that's more cost to you to make it right.
Obviously, we're dealing with ruminants, so feed quality or hay quality is very important, and that's one thing with cooperation from Mother Nature that farmer can control is the quality of the nutrients going into the cow.
Producers are always trying to find new ways to maximize the efficiency of forage harvesting and storage. That's why farmers and ranchers in many areas are making the switch to high moisture hay.
We commonly refer to it as baleage or silage hay, and that hay is usually made somewhere between 40 and 60% dry matter. It can be in different forms, individually wrapped bales or inline or tube wrap bales.
Baling forage at higher moisture levels offers some distinct advantages, and one of the biggest is the ability to better manage the weather factor. Anyone in the hay business knows rained-on hay and delayed cuttings can have a negative impact on profit and forage quality. Baleage takes a lot of the weather worries off the shoulders of hay producers.
The best thing about the wet wrap is you don't need a 4 or 5 day window to get it done. You can get it done in two days, 2.5 at the most, which means a lot with the weather you're dealing with.
And it seems like it only rains when we're trying to make hay. So that window of opportunity to make the best quality of hay is oftentimes short. High moisture hay clearly creates an advantage when you have that as an option because you can work with the weather a lot better than if you're looking for a truly dry hay product.
Helping to beat the weather is not the only advantage of silage bales. Baleage also lets growers harvest hay when its nutrient content is highest due to a more timely harvest. In addition, baleage has better palatability than other feeds because of its soft texture. The end result is less waste in the feeders, keeping beef producers and their cows happy.
It's very palatable if it's made right and fermented properly. There's minimal, if any, wastage when it's fed. Just from personal experience, cows like it. It tastes good. They'll clean it up. So that's a big advantage in terms of eliminating waste to help reduce costs.
They don't have to be hungry to eat it. If it's made right, they eat it all.
A baleage system requires much the same equipment as a conventional hay system with some additions. Due to the increased moisture levels needed to effectively store baleage, existing round balers may not be appropriate. New Holland offers round balers that are built to withstand the rigors of harvesting high moisture forage.
With high moisture hay, it's really a matter of the baler itself and having a baler that has the right components and equipment to handle that tougher environment in high moisture hay.
New Holland has a long history in making balers that are silage ready, And in our latest generation of balers, the Roll Belt 450 and 460, we have models that are come out of the factory equipped, ready to go to the field and make high moisture or silage bales. New Holland has completely redesigned the new Roll Belt series of round baler. In both the 4x5 and 4x6 bale size categories, or our models, the Roll Belt 450 and 460, you have the opportunity to get silage ready balers in a number of configurations. You can get a silage special baler that would be a 1.8 meter pickup in an active sweep configuration, which will give you a rotor type feeder that will feed over and into the bale chamber. You can also get a brand new model, which is a super feed. It's actually the unit that's behind me, which will have a rotor that the crop will feed under the rotor and up into the bale chamber to allow high capacity feeding in high moisture crops. So we've designed a baler that allows our customers to be more efficient and allow cattlemen to stay in the field where they belong and get the crop baled before the rain comes or whatever they're challenged with.
There are some important steps producers need to take to reduce the possibility that high moisture bales will spoil. First, keep a close eye on bale density. In general, the denser the bale, the lower the spoilage. Also, bales should be wrapped as soon as possible after baling for maximum preservation. The quality of the silage decreases as the length of time between baling and wrapping increases.
You can decide to either put them in a tube wrap or wrap them individually, but you need to basically prohibit oxygen from being able to access that bale and letting that bale rot. You need to cover it so that it can ensile and retain the nutrition and get the end product you're looking for.
Everything we do with hay production, we're losing forage. From the time you cut it to the time it's fed to the cow, we do too much not to preserve amount and quality of the feed. And a wrapper is a valuable component in the process.
New Holland is a valuable resource for producers when it comes to high moisture baling. The company helps its customers be as productive as possible when dealing with baleage.
Somebody that wants to get into high moisture baling, we can certainly walk them through the process and make sure that they've got the right equipment to do that and to be effective at it. We certainly encourage going out on farm visits and ranch visits where we can go out and work with the customers, understand the type of crop that they have, and what their goals and objectives and are, so that we can provide them with the most appropriate piece of equipment.
New Holland has a long tradition in the silage special baling market, and with this core design of having high bale density and delivering a package that allows less bales in the field, less moves, to save the operator money and time.
For many beef producers, the use of baleage systems to harvest and store forage may be a worthwhile investment. While making round bale silage may not be ideal for every operation, at Cooksey Farms they believe they've found the long-term answer to their feed challenges.
It's something that needs to keep doing, and if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's working good for us, and it's just something that I'm going to continue to carry on here.
Reporting from Circleville, Ohio, I'm Brian Baxter for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
New Holland has the right equipment for you no matter what your hay and forage needs are. For more information on the Roll Belt 450 and 460 or any other New Holland product, just visit their website at newholland.com. Still ahead, we'll visit an award-winning ranch in Texas. And up next, we'll learn about sustainability and responsible beef. Stay with us.
New Holland is smart for the way you farm. And New Holland round balers are smart for the way you raise cattle. By focusing on making the densest bale possible, New Holland round balers pack more into each bale, saving you time, fuel, and money. Now that's smart. We can also match your feeding requirements with a variety of bale slicing, cutting, and wrapping options to help maximize your time. Plus, with models designed specifically for silage or specialty crop harvest, New Holland gives you the power to make smart choices to fit your farm or ranch. You work hard to get the most out of every hay season to benefit you and your cattle. From mower conditioners to balers and tractors, New Holland has the right solutions to help you make quality hay and forage for your cattle operation. Visit your New Holland dealer to learn more about the complete lineup of New Holland equipment, in addition to all the benefits available to cattle producers.
Cattlemen and women share a commitment to caring for their animals and their resources while also feeding the nation. Now, beef producers have a new ally in the effort to produce beef responsibly. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck has more on Merck Animal Health's commitment to producers and responsible beef production.
Sustainability is a hot topic in the beef industry, and there are a number of efforts underway to both showcase and improve the ability of family farms and ranches to continue passing their operations to the next generation. Merck Animal Health's Responsible Beef Initiative is one of the ways the company is proving its commitment to beef producers and the industry as a whole.
About 2.5 years ago, we got together and really started looking at the word sustainability, and really realized that it didn't approach some things that we thought extremely important in the cattle industry. And so in that, we started talking about being responsible and really doing things right. So responsible beef has 4 pillars: cattle, land, community, and business. And we really felt that we had to start with cattle, because cattle is what this industry is all about. When we treat our cattle right, they return our investment in them to us. Next thing is land. Land is something we're not making any more of. And if we don't take care of the land, we don't have anything to pass down to our heirs. Next thing is community. Community really starts with family. With family, it's a people who are working operations, it's who we provide for, and it's people we do business with. It's a guy at the feed store, it's a guy at the hardware store, it's our barber, it's the teachers at school. It's the people we produce beef for. They're part of our community. And the last thing we talk about is business. And a lot of times people don't want to talk about business because it sounds like making money is a bad thing. But if you're in business, you really should make money, and that keeps your business going, and that makes all the other things, cattle, land, community, work.
Merck Animal Health is committed to helping the industry emphasize the idea that each member of the beef value chain has a responsibility to do things right. A drive to improve the viability of each operation and helping to make the beef industry more sustainable are cornerstones of the Responsible Beef Initiative.
When it comes to cattle, we care about performance, animal health, the health and well-being, and so those are probably our 3 large, I would say, cornerstones, focus points when it relates to cattle. Is we want to provide products and solutions that make cattle healthier, optimum performance, and also looking out for the well-being of those animals that we raise for food.
Beyond simply vaccinating cattle or monitoring for disease outbreaks, the Responsible Beef Initiative covers all aspects of animal care, including nutrition and low-stress cattle handling techniques.
Minimizing stress depends on everybody involved, all the way from the people that bring cattle up from pens or in from the pasture or wherever they may be. It starts from a basic level, and everybody needs to be involved and on the same page that slow, consistent handling of the cattle provides low stress.
I look at stress in cattle a lot like stress in people. If I get stressed, I've got the ability to get sick. I don't feel good. I think cattle are the same way. If we treat cattle with low stress, we're going to have fewer health problems. We're going to have fewer issues with those cattle. Their injuries are going to go way down. So it's really important to approach cattle correctly, follow the best management practices for low stress handling that you can.
Responsible Beef also covers other areas of beef production, such as helping to ensure proper administration and storage protocols for animal health products.
Proper storage and handling of vaccines is a hallmark of vaccination. If we don't deliver a product to the animal that has been handled properly or stored properly, we've really defeated the whole purpose of vaccine. There's really 3 main enemies to vaccine, and heat is one of them. Sunlight is another one. For different types of vaccines, modified live vaccines, actually disinfectants are an enemy. And so proper storage, how we handle them, how long we mix up modified live vaccines before we use them are keys to delivering a product to the animal that's going to have effect.
We'll have more on responsible beef production right after this. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
We stand for what we believe in. We believe in you. It's more than a job. It's your way of life. Who you are, where you live, and what you do. The way you treat your cattle, your family, your employees, and your neighbors. The water you drink, the air you breathe, and the ground you walk on. What you do every day gives families something to gather around every night. It's about doing what's right for your cattle, your land, your community, and your business. It's your livelihood, and it means as much to us as it does to you. We all believe in responsible beef. Let's stand together at responsiblebeef.com.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of the land better than a rancher. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Welcome back. Now we return to Cattleman and Cattleman reporter Matt Fleck for more expert insights on responsible beef production.
Adherence to BQA, Beef Quality Assurance Guidelines, also plays a significant role in the Responsible Beef Initiative.
BQA guidelines that cattle feeders should follow for vaccination are simple. Number one, always give vaccines in front of the shoulder. There should be no reason for a vaccine to ever given behind the shoulder. Proper restraint of the animal is necessary for that, and modern chutes give us no reason to not give that vaccine in front of the shoulder. Number two, if you're giving multiple vaccines on the same side of the animal, a good rule of thumb is 1 hand's breadth between the injection sites. Number three, use the proper needle for the type of vaccine and the administration that you want to give. A subcutaneous vaccine should be using a needle of 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch in length. An intramuscular vaccine should use a needle that's 1 inch to 1.5 inches in length. And so the proper equipment, the proper placement, and the proper time is important for vaccine.
The sustainability of the beef industry rests not only on taking care of animals and the land, it also hinges on the ability of cattlemen and women to make the most of their resources, including feed, as they work to produce more beef using fewer resources than in the past. Technologies, such as growth-promoting technologies, play an important role in improving feed conversion, lowering the inputs required to produce today's beef.
When we talk about implants and environmental stewardship, to me, they're right there in the middle of the cornerstone of what producers do. Maybe people don't realize it as much in terms of what these producers do and how they care for their land. But a technology like implants, they use fewer resources in terms of improving feed conversion. So the feed we put in front of them is utilized better. And so again, the bottom line is we get more beef with less resources. So let's take two animals, one's implanted and one's not. And one has a Revelar in its ear and one doesn't. And so the one that has Revelar is going to weigh about, let's say, 100 pounds more at a certain time. So it finishes at 100 pounds more. And if we don't implant that animal and we want to achieve the same weight out goal, then we're going to have to feed that animal about 25 more days. So 25 or 30 days at 20 pounds of intake is going to be 500 pounds of feed. So for a non-implanted animal, we're going to have to produce 500 more pounds of feed to get to that same weight that a Revelar implant provided. And so I think that should put it in terms that's easy for people to understand when we talk about implants and what they do from an environmental standpoint, as well as less resources, is that, just vision that 500 pounds of feed that would be required for a non-implanted animal to get to that same finished weight.
To help producers better understand the 4 pillars of the Responsible Beef program and how they can help make an operation more sustainable, Merck Animal Health has a website, responsiblebeef.com. The website provides resources to guide continuous improvement and to help producers ensure the success of their individual operations.
If we don't care for the animals the way that they deserve to be cared for, they're not going to provide to us, and really we shouldn't be in the industry. If somebody is abusing animals, they shouldn't be in this industry. They should be doing something else. And so it's that responsibility really comes back to every individual and treating animals the way that they really should be treated, with care and well-being and a lot of love.
Well, I hope they see what Merck Animal Health is doing in trying to raise the awareness of, other than just selling a product that we manufacture. I hope they understand that, we're in the beef industry as well, and we're passionate about cattle, we're passionate about the land, we're aware of the resources that we're trying to save and, raise more beef with less resources. The communities that these feed yards and these cattle producers, ranchers, farmers, stocker operators all participate in, it's important to us as well. We're part of those communities. And then the business that they provide, all those things, again, at Responsible Beef are just important. And so we hope that people embrace those things that are dear to their heart as dear to our heart.
Reporting from Colorado, I'm Matt Fleck for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
For more information on the Responsible Beef campaign, check out Merck Animal Health's website. That's responsiblebeef.com. Still ahead, we'll visit with Baxter Black, and coming up next, we'll take you to an award-winning ranch in Central Texas. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
We stand for what we believe in. We believe in you. It's more than a job. It's your way of life. Who you are, where you live, and what you do. The way you treat your cattle, your family, your employees, and your neighbors. The water you drink, the air you breathe, and the ground you walk on. What you do every day gives families something to gather around every night. It's about doing what's right for your cattle, your land, your community, and your business. It's your livelihood, and it means as much to us as it does to you. We all believe in responsible beef. Let's stand together at responsiblebeef.com.
One by one, we've been sharing the stories of the 2014 regional winners of the Environmental Stewardship Award. These are outstanding cattle operations that have gone the extra mile in caring for their land and their resources. Now, let's head to Texas to see how they're caring for the land at Rocosa Ridge Ranch.
In Central Texas, the day is still new as Bruce Berg and his wife Barbara are out checking on their cattle. Bruce grew up on a Missouri farm, but has built a career in the financial industry. When his job took his family to the Dallas area, Bruce realized his dream of owning a ranch.
I grew up in Missouri on a farm and ranch. Actually got a degree in animal science and a master's in animal physiology, and went to work in northwest Iowa became interested in the markets and actually ended up working on Wall Street. Went to New York, had an opportunity to come back to Texas. Immediately after coming back to Texas, I knew I wanted a ranch. So we run a mostly purebred Angus herd. We actually have one Charolais that is a resident animal. But otherwise, they were all originally brought from Nebraska for the genetics, and we run about 200 mama cows and raise replacement heifers, and steers are actually marketed through the folks that we buy the bulls from.
Bruce first returned to his farm roots 21 years ago. He bought and improved 2 other Texas properties before buying what is now Rocosa Ridge Ranch in 2006.
What's unique about it is it's really 2 ranches in one. The north end is really tall grass prairie, and it's meant to be open, and it's a good example in a lot of areas of the remnants of what the prairie looked like originally. And it's fantastic for cattle. The south end, like I say, has the cliffs and bluffs, and it's just completely different topography. It's actually managed more from a wildlife standpoint, and the cattle are really there to enhance the property from a wildlife standpoint.
When the Bergs first bought the ranch, the land was in poor condition and all the cross-fencing was gone. One of the first priorities was setting up a rotational grazing program, installing 12 miles of fencing, and beginning the work of improving the grasses and native range.
The biggest thing is once you go into a rotation, the carrying capacity of the land went up considerably. The quality of land, we burnt all 6,000 acres through controlled burns with the help of the NRCS, and that did a tremendous amount.
The way Bruce maintains the vigor of these grasses is by his proper grazing. He implements a simple rotational grazing plan, but he moves when he needs to move. And his key indicator are these bunch grasses, in which he takes about a quarter of the standing forage, but he ends up leaving half of that plant material for the resource itself. What that does is that maintains that plant vigor. It keeps the ground covered. It keeps the soil moist for times when we get into drought.
By keeping stocking rates low, Bruce has a cushion when drought occurs, and his cattle are able to graze year-round with no supplemental hay. The Bergs have built a series of ponds and run 19 miles of pipeline to water troughs, allowing them to distribute grazing across the land more evenly. Bruce and his crew have also battled invasive cedar trees while using an innovative partnership to help fund the effort.
And so we actually worked a partnership with Fort Hood, a mitigation project, and we saved and preserved that old growth cedar, which is a nesting material for the warbler, and we actually used the money from that mitigation project to do the cedar removal on the rest of the ranch. So we've gone into an extensive cedar removal program, and on the south end we ran 2 skid steers clipping cedar for about 53 weeks, and on the north end we've been running about 4 months here. Again, the control burn helps on the small cedar. The large cedar, we had to actually clip it, but it opens up the land.
Native grasses are reviving. A barn built in 1896 has been restored, and the Bergs are seeing wildlife increase as their cattle herd thrives. As committed as Bruce is to seeing the land improved, he's equally passionate about sharing the story of caring for the land with people from urban areas.
From a leadership standpoint, I think he's in a class of his own. From bringing out folks from the cities to learn about resource management, from working cattle in the pens to teaching a youngster how to hunt for the first time.
A Lone Star land steward, Bruce is committed to taking step-by-step actions to ensure Rocosa Ridge Ranch gets better every year. That approach is paying off for his cattle, for the land, and for his own peace of mind.
You know, you catch a summer evening and you're sitting out in the pasture and watching the cows graze, and it's about as close to being in church as you can get. Each year we try and look at it again. At the first of the year we look back on it and say, what are the big projects that we're going to try and accomplish this year to make this ranch better, have better carrying capacity, and make it better from the wildlife and from the cattle standpoint. And that's my view with regard to managing the land, is making sure that it's better again the way you leave it, because you're a steward for the time you have it, and then after that it's somebody else's job, and you hope to leave it better.
If you'd like to learn more about this and other award-winning ranches, just visit the website environmentalstewardship.org. Still ahead, we'll hear from the cowboy poet Baxter Black. Stay with us. There's more of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman right after this.
To truck guys, the truck is everything. And when you put them in charge of making an unbeatable truck, good things happen. This is the Ram 1500, the 2014 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. And first ever back-to-back winner. Guts, glory, Ram.
Their best performance begins with Lifeline, a revolutionary performance product with a unique active ingredient. So they feel their best, breathe with ease, and move effortlessly. Bring out the greatness inside them. Learn more about Lifeline's unique bioactive proteins at watchthemthrive.com.
It's the official monthly publication of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The National Cattleman is produced exclusively for NCBA members and includes coverage of the news and events affecting our industry. Every issue includes market analysis, feature stories, and practical management tips. Start receiving your copy of The National Cattleman. Call 866-USA-BEEF or go online to beefusa.org and join today.
No matter the season, if you want the best performance from your cattle, you have to consider parasite control. We have a closer look at the value of season-long parasite control as Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Brian Baxter brings us the story from Idaho.
John Allen has no trouble staying busy. He helps manage cattle in 4 different states, and with all those animals to care for, he knows the value of season-long parasite control. During our visit, John was working cattle at one of the ranch locations in Idaho.
I work for Easter Day Ranches. I've been with them for about 10 years, and my job in the summer with them is to manage these stocker cattle. We have several locations, and this is one of our locations here in Idaho. So in the course of a summer, I'll be responsible for the coordinating the receiving of the cattle. We'll set them up with a processing regimen and provide the vaccines and treatments for the cattle.
Deworming in the spring and the fall is an excellent practice. It's kind of the gold standard that most cattlemen have. Deworming in the fall is important for a multitude of reasons. Number one, these cattle get stressed. And when they get stressed, they get sick, just like people. And if the immune system is dealing with parasites, as well as stress and viruses and bacteria, it can overload the immune system. The last thing they need is to be dealing with parasites. And that's where deworming with a product like Long Range, particularly if they're grazing cattle, makes the most sense. Long Range is a long-acting dewormer, injectable dewormer for cattle. Gives cattle persistent protection up to 100 to 150 days, depending upon the parasite.
As with all stocker operations at Easter Day Ranches, they believe in setting up their cattle for success. They know from experience that strong and healthy cattle can return the best daily gains.
Currently, we're using Long Range for our deworming program. When we receive these cattle here, we have quite an investment in our vaccine program. We want to set these cattle up to be as strong and competitive as possible.
And that's why deworming is so important, is that if we deworm these cattle, they can do a better job of staying healthier. And that's the ultimate goal. To minimize the parasite load throughout the course of a grazing season means cattle just inherently feel better, their appetite's better. When their appetite's better, they're eating more, they're gaining more. And as a result, when you have a bigger calf that goes to market, that's more money in your back pocket as a producer.
In addition to the short-term benefits, the team at Easter Day Ranches sees long-term benefits from using long range for parasite control. They send stocker cattle from pasture directly into their own feedlots.
We've set these cattle up to gain and maximize the performance and utilize the resources of the grass that we have available. And with the cost of these cattle and the cost of gain, it's just really important that we maximize performance on these cattle. We own these cattle all the way to finish, and so we're setting them up here on the summer to continue throughout our program. We're trying to set them up to perform as good as they possibly can. So the investment we make now, we expect to pay off all the way to finish. We feel like that they come into our feedlots clean, they're able to go right on feed and go right to gaining.
Since long range is labeled for parasite control for up to 100 to 150 days, cattle are protected for the entire grazing season. Dr. Morvetz notes that the extended protection means less time and labor for producers.
Season-long control is a luxury. To not have to rework these cattle and deworm them time and time again through the grazing season. So not having to get them back up, work them, put them through the chute, put them at risk for injury, have to pay for additional product, additional labor. There's a lot of cost savings there, a lot of risk savings there.
When you look at all the options and the labor it would take to get these cattle in, rework them, the long range is really an incredible product. Well, as far as the time saving goes, a lot of these locations, the logistics of getting cattle back in, as far as maybe a deworming second time, the logistics are nearly impossible. To bring these cattle in is quite a job sometimes. We feel like this product is something that we can rely on to last throughout the season for us. And it simplifies our regimen. We're working with different operators, and you got different people in different parts of the country, and we can utilize a product that everyone can handle, and it's simple to use, and it works effectively no matter where we're at.
With their experience, both John Allen and Dr. Morvetz believe long range delivers results that pay real dividends in cattle health and performance, as well as increasing the bottom line.
We've went to using long range in all our summer stocker cattle, and plan to continue to do so. When you're realizing the increased daily gain on these cattle, in today's market, it just does not take very long to get that money back out of these cattle. It's just really a simple choice. We see the increased weight gain, and I just believe it's going to pay off for your return on the investment.
I think that long range has a place in every cattle operation. So if you're grazing cattle on grass, long range is a product you need to consider. If you're a stocker operator, to me personally as a veterinarian, it's a no-brainer. You put it in these cattle, they perform better, they do better, they gain better.
In Idaho, I'm Brian Baxter reporting for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
Here is some important safety information. Do not treat within 48 days of slaughter. Not for use in female dairy cattle 20 months of age or older, including dry dairy cows or in veal calves. Post-injection site damage can occur. These reactions have disappeared without treatment. Find out more at the website, thelongrangelook.com.
To find out more about prescription long range, contact your local veterinarian or call 888-MARIEL-1, or you can visit thelongrangelook.com. Coming up next, a visit with Baxter Black. Stay with us.
Here, 21011. I'm at 21011.
Yes! Joe, Todd, how'd you do? Oh, not bad.
See what you have to gain at thelongrangelook.com.
This isn't a job, it's a calling. Your hard work helps feed the world. Being linked to those who care for the land is our calling. For more than 175 years, John Deere has been a proud partner of the cattle business. That's why we bring you special NCBA member discounts, so you can get the right equipment, strong, rugged, versatile, and ready to work hard. Talk to your John Deere dealer to learn more about your NCBA member discounts. John Deere, committed to the land, committed to your success.
We know who made that hitch. We know who cut the steel, who milled the ball, and who welded the seams. We know who tested, measured, and checked. We even know who thought the whole thing up. We're B&W, and we know your hitch. Because we don't make them halfway around the world. We make them all right here. B&W. Trusted.
Working your cattle just got easier. Introducing the new Vet Gun delivery system, a new way to apply topical insecticides to your cattle. The Vet Gun lets you remotely treat cattle with effective parasite control, so you can do it from an ATV, on horseback, or just walking among the herd. It's that simple. The proven topical insecticide AML Vet Cap is used with the Vet Gun. It works fast to control horn flies and lice while minimizing stress on your cattle. Fast, easy, effective. Vet Gun. Check with your animal health supplier for availability.
One thing that separates farmers from their city brothers is the weather. How many times have you heard the local anchorman say, "Gosh, Kimmy, that's really good news. I'm sure getting tired of this rain." Well, when the big city weatherman's map has a yellow sun with a smiley face that covers the Louisiana Purchase, you realize how far from nature some parts of our civilization have been removed. But somewhere out beyond the cattle guard, a farmer's standing at the edge of his wheat field, watching it rain and smiling. Farmers and ranchers are students of the sky. They spend a lifetime looking for a blue horizon or a black cloud. It's bringing them luck, sometimes bad, but sometimes they win. They smell the weather changing. They aren't looking at it through a window. They are truly part of their environment. And maybe that's why we don't take it for granted. I've been out on JP Point one spring after the thaw. The water was so thick the fish could walk. The road was washed out all the way, but still I struggled on. I just drove my pickup truck from rock to rock. And one time up at Grouse Creek, it hailed all one day, and then I swear it settled into snow. We had to dig a tunnel to put cows in the chute. And that's the day I froze off all my toes. And then down at the Bear Ranch, the fog, it was so thick we didn't need a fence to hold them in. We gathered up some 2x8s and nailed them to the air and hung the gate securely on the end. At Clipper Flats or Rafter T, I can't remember which, the weather turned off mighty cold indeed. The wind come blowing up and got that whipping chill right down to minus 99 degrees. But if you're looking for a hole to send someone you hate, try the sheep corrals at Cat Creek by the Rise. It's the only place I ever stood in mud up to my knees and had the dadgum dust blow in my eyes. This is Baxter Black from out there.
Thanks, Baxter. We always enjoy our visits with you. As producers, it's our commitment to beef quality that assures consumers that they're choosing well when they choose beef. If you've been putting off getting your beef quality assurance or BQA certification, now's the time to do it. Right now, you can get BQA certified at no cost thanks to support from Boehringer Ingelheim Vetmedica Incorporated. That offer continues through October 31st. To get started, just visit the website bqa.org/team. There's more Cattleman to Cattleman still ahead right after this.
Tough trailers built for tough country. Big Ben Trailers manufactures a different kind of trailer, one that's built to put up with the rough conditions found on the ranch. Rugged build using heavy gauge powder coated steel and a 2x4 rectangle tube frame. There's a 1-inch gap between the side and floor, so there's no place for water or manure to accumulate and rust. Big Ben trailers are loaded with standard features: a lever action hitch, a 3-foot escape gate and a middle sorting gate, rhino lining along the front edges, and a receiver hitch to tow another trailer, chute, or other equipment. Tough and practical. That's Big Ben Trailers, designed and built by a working cattleman. You can rely on and trust Big Ben Trailers for their durability and convenient features. Reasonably priced for any rancher to afford. For a list of dealers and other design features, visit BigBenTrailers.com. Big Ben Trailers, built cattlemen tough.
All right, here we go, Kevin. 3, 2.
Welcome back. Time now for this week's Legacy Photos. And for that, we return to Rocosa Ridge Ranch in Texas. Let's have a look. Why don't you send us your favorite farm or ranch photo? You can connect with us on our website. That's cattlemantocattleman.org. Well, that's our time for this edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Kevin Oxner, and we'll see you next week right here on RFD TV.